Despite the grief he gets from the liberal mainstream media, Nigel Farage is actually quite popular. He was the engine behind Brexit and he got 4 million votes in the last election. That's not a bad return for the first time a party has stood. Many of us have been sympathetic to Farage over the years, and that's because he represents something outside of mainstream politics. He'll talk about things that you're not supposed to in polite liberal society, like grooming gangs and mass immigration. This meant that Farage represented the forgotten heartlands of Britain, as well as getting him a seat as an MP. But I think it's fair to say many of us have been a bit disappointed with Nigel Farage. Why? Because his rhetoric is increasingly indistinguishable from a middle-of-the-road liberal Tory.
But the nub of it is, we have a Muslim population in Britain growing by about 75% every 10 years. Right? That's just where we are.
Mm-hmm.
If we politically alienate the whole of Islam, we will lose. We'll lose.
So how does one include
We
them?
will lose. By 2050, goodness knows what kind of a terrible state we're going to be in.
This is classic liberal rhetoric. Every major party is pro-Islam, they're pro-quote-unquote inclusion. So Farage is just joining in with the mainstream liberal chorus here. However, the reason why he's popular and he's got where he is because he represented a return or a loyalty to our Christian values, our traditional British way of life. Incidentally, this is why leftists dislike Farage so much, as they dislike anybody who wishes for British culture to be dominant in Britain or European culture to be dominant in Europe. If you believe such things, you'll be told that you're full of hate in this day and age. But as I've said many times on this channel, I don't hate anybody. I've taken quite a keen interest in the cultures of the world, explored Sufism and Islam, Zen Buddhism and so on. It's always seemed to me that the best thing for the long-term health of a nation, a region or even the world is to treat your culture with great respect, to nurture it, to try and rejuvenate it regularly. This to me seems our best shot at creating social and political harmony. Further to that, it's what makes the magic of each unique country. Ireland, Mexico, Italy, Japan, each of these nations has had the space to grow due to its own cultural domination of the people there. This is why I've always been against diversity myself. It's not because I hate other cultures, it's because I love other cultures. You may have noticed that every Western nation that adopts this policy of quote-unquote tolerance and diversity is becoming a homogenized mass of humanity. London is increasingly indistinguishable from New York, and so on. Uniqueness is going out of the window. What's left is Homo economicus. That is the modern-day material man, the liberal humanist who has the values of equality, tolerance and diversity, which basically means intolerance of anything that's not liberal. And this is the line of thinking that Farage is falling into here. Perhaps he's doing it simply to further his career. Maybe he wants to lead the Tory party one day or something. But here he is stating that anybody who thinks differently to him is only motivated by hate. Exactly the same technique the leftists use on him.
And the one thing the establishment will try to use again and again and again is accusations of extremism, intolerance and racism against us. So I make this plea. You know, if you really, really hate everybody else because they're slightly different to you, please don't join the party.
Regular viewers may recognise Farage is engaging in what I call progressive moral theology here, the idea that I'm a good person with my liberal beliefs and anybody who thinks different to me is full of hatred and they're evil. Well, I think Farage should be careful here. In his bid to win over the Liberals, he might end up losing his base, and then he doesn't have a leg to stand on at all. These are just my thoughts, however. Do let me know what you think down below. Do consider subscribing to the channel.